Our guest this week is a PhD student studying creative writing and narrative craft. You've likely seen her on YouTube and TikTok, where she creates deep dive analyses of characters, themes, and scenes from Heated Rivalry and other popular media. We've been talking about her videos for months, and we are so excited to finally have her here to discuss her work and share her HR insights. Please join us in welcoming Nina King to the pod. Hello.
Thank you for having
Welcome.
me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here. To start off, we like asking our guests the same question, which is, how were you first introduced to Heated Rivalry?
Oh God, I actually have such a terrible answer, but in the spirit of honesty, so I was on winter break, which after like when the PhD semester ends, a necessary thing is like laying down for like 7 to 10 days, and doing nothing but watch TV and TikToks. And I was on TikTok, and I want to preface this by saying I think that these actors are so skilled, and in no way do I want to objectify them, because I know they're having like a horrible Beatlemania moment. But I was on TikTok, and someone came up and they were like, I just saw this show, and you will never believe the biggest, roundest ass that I saw in that show. But then I heard, me and one of my cohort members in my PhD do a podcast, or we used to do a podcast on romantasy, like critical analysis of romantasy. So I'd heard a lot about hockey romances, but I'd never read one before. So I was like, ooh, I think that this is going to be just up my alley. Yeah.
Amazing. Lee and I have read Hockey Romance for a long time, so we get it.
Really? I had a friend who, she was so into, like, her younger sister was going to college, and the younger sister was so into hockey romance that she almost, like, gave up a scholarship at her dream school because they didn't have a hockey team.
That's so
That's
real.
she's deep into
Dedication.
it.
Inevitably decided not to, which I'm very happy for her, but yeah,
Right.
real.
So once you started watching Heated Rivalry, was there a particular moment or a scene that made you fall in love with it?
Well, the experience that I had with Heated Rivalry was one that I've only had a couple times before with shows like Fleabag, where like I started it at like 10 p.m. and then I just watched the entire thing until it was like 6 a.m. But I remember the first 3 episodes are, like, very good fun, but it is mostly that, like, ramping up. But then when we got to episode 4, 5, and 6, when we had, like, the tuna melt scene, I was like, "Oh, here is some really nice, juicy character work, like, this is what I'm here for." So, yeah, I think probably the tuna melt. I love to see my characters in distress.
Yeah, I think when all of us watched that scene, we kind of had a meltdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Not just
Similar
Shane.
to Shane. Yeah,
No,
not
not
just
just
Shane.
Shane, all of us. Yeah. You've been posting analyses on YouTube and TikTok for a while, but what made you want to start posting Heated Rivalry specifically? Was it the tuna melt scene or was it something else?
You know, I got to the end of the show and I was like, that was so damn well written. And we are in such, I mean, I talk about this constantly, but we are in such an era of like streaming service slop where, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, I think like this is not like a charismatic trait or one that I would like to have, but I'm so like overeducated in narrative analysis that I've ended up becoming really hard to please, which makes me a
Mhm.
nightmare to like have movie nights with. But when like dialogue or setting or pacing or cinematography is wrong, it like really, really bothers me.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I was like 10 out of 10. Um, and I also have my own philosophy, which was why me and my friend Emmy started doing our Romantasy podcast. Is because I am an English teacher at college. I teach English and creative writing. And so when I like when we have these classes, you know, I show my students like exemplars of craft. Um, and I was like, first of all, I think that the academy can be a little bit poo poo on like popular media, which I think is dumb and like rooted in classism. Um, but I was like, this is such an opportunity to, because I'm always wearing my English teacher hat. It's such an opportunity to like have something that people already love and then to analyze the craft. I think that people are like so bought in already, and then talking about the craft can like number one make you appreciate it that much more. And two, like if you are a creative and you're like wanting to learn more about craft, I think that like talking deeply about something that you love is like a wonderful way to do it.
And going off that, moving away from Heated Rivalry for a little bit and more towards your narrative analysis. So, what do you think makes a great narrative analysis versus simply just reviewing like media?
That is a hard question. I think that I think that there's, like, such a broad spectrum of good narrative analysis. There can be, like, large scale ones, small scale ones. I think the one that I am doing, I guess, is just, like, zooming in, like, as far as possible, getting extremely granular. Which is and I think that's because that's, like, what a lot of the times we're trained to do in the PhDs, like, close readings, and I think my first ever video was called, like, "A Close Reading of Ilya Rozanov." Yeah, I think that there's so many different ways that, like, really good narrative analysis can be done. I think I'm just really drawn to the granular. Did any of you ever watch I think that I was inspired by, any of you ever watch Overanalyzing Avatar? It's like a
No.
huge series. A guy did an analysis of every single episode of
Mm-mm.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I think is like a perfect
No, but I
show.
need to. Yeah.
It's so good.
So, when you're well, wow, I can't say it. Analyzing a scene, where do you begin?
You know, I think that Heated Rivalry makes it easy because and I feel like this is a manifestation of, like, their small budget, is that they had to be, like, so intentional about every single scene because, like, money's burning, right? And so there'll be scenes like there was that scene with Shane and his parents at the restaurant that I analyzed a while ago, and I remember just, like, tangentially remembering it in my head without watching it recently. I was like, "Oh, I don't even think that this scene is interesting." But if you, like I just have to, like, sit myself down, like, glasses on really close to the screen and, like, watch everything closely, and something always inevitably comes up because there's lovely little Easter eggs in, like, every single second of it.
Yeah, and I think that's been so great too, like, watching your videos is because a lot of people for this show specifically are like, "I wish it was, 22 episodes," which, of
Right.
course, would love that. But to your point, every scene has a meaning and is important. We were just talking about well, this is a tangent, but we were just talking about, the moment in your last video with the Serena Williams piece and the Tiger Woods piece, and we're like, something we never thought about, but, like, so important down to the very, like, words that maybe you're just passing off as, like, not like fluff, but a random throwaway comment. You're like, "No, that goes back to everything and is actually truly crucial to who Shane is."
Yeah, absolutely, and that was something I missed until I posted on Patreon. It's like, were there any, like, viewer reactions or comments that made you think differently? And that it was absolutely one of them. I know that, like, in my capacity as one doing analysis, there are some there are some, like, realms in which I feel like I'm intuitively able to understand, like, as a queer person, I feel like I have some sort of intuitive grasp of, like, their queer power dynamic, but I know nothing about sports, nothing about hockey, nothing about Russia, which I feel like is honestly, like, hamstringing me a little bit because that's so important to Ilya's character, and I also, like, as a white person, I don't have the, like, knowledge of, like or have the knowledge of Shane's, like, experience as a player of color. But yeah, like, people told me that on Patreon, and I was like, it completely rewired that entire scene and was, like, such an important moment for Shane and, like, the understanding of his character.
Yeah. Were there any other moments or comments that stick out from viewers where you're like, "Oh, that makes me think about it in a completely different way for a scene?"
I um I really appreciate when people disagree. Like
Ooh,
sometimes
okay.
people disagree with me, people disagree with each other, but that's good because there's no one reading in a narrative analysis. There's no like one correct one. It's just like this is what I think. Yes, and so I love that it can be like collaborative in the comments as well and I love seeing like people talk to each other in my comment sections. It's so fun, and so that's that sense of community. It's
Yeah,
lovely.
you can take what resonates and what you kind of see, and then you're like, "Okay, like, if I think differently, it doesn't need to be a problem. I'll take what resonates and leave the rest." Um, well, definitely want to kind of see this analysis in action. and get a
Mm.
look inside your brain. Since
Mhm.
this episode is coming out really close to the 6-month anniversary of the cottage episode, which is wild. That time is
Mhm.
passing by that quickly. I'm like, also, did you watch it on December 26th or did you watch it?
No,
Okay.
I didn't even start watching it until, like, January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ruined a lot of people's Christmases, I'm sure.
Did you
Yeah.
guys all watch it live?
I did, yeah. So it was like
Yeah, I think we
midnight.
all did.
Yeah,
Wow.
It was the first thing I watched when I woke up because of the time difference, yeah.
right.
I
But I
wish we had. I think that the experience of a show is so enriched by having it week by week, and then everybody's
Mm.
talking about it. Yeah, I got to do it all in one big chunk, but I wish I'd been with
next
y'all.
season, next
Yeah,
season.
exactly.
But because it's so close to the cottage, would love I know you picked a moment that we don't know about
Mhm.
from episode
Mhm.
6 that you'd like to talk about. So
Mhm.
please share and let us know what stands out to you about that specific moment.
Absolutely. Okay, so you guys mentioned TikTok, and so I talked about this on TikTok a long time ago, so I hope that you guys haven't already, seen that, but I'm so excited to talk about in the regular analysis. Um, we have this, like, incredibly, like, intense in terms of, like, emotionality and, like, raw vulnerability sex scene that it's like, I feel like I shouldn't be watching, which is, like I think that that is such like, it's very intentionally done. It's trying to make us, like, feel like we are intruding on something that is so private. And then afterwards, my favorite shot of the entire show, it's the next morning when they wake up and there's just like Ilya's I wish that I like could pull it up. But it's just like Ilya's face at rest with like the sunlight coming in.
Sun. Mhm.
Yeah. And so my whole idea with that shot is that like I think that so much of Ilya's arc is about like objectification and vulnerability because he's such like a sensual character. He has all this like sensual magnetism, which the only comparison I've ever been able to think of is like Finnick from the Hunger Games. But he really wears it on his sleeve, and it's so fun to see Connor's story outside of that character because you can tell what like an intentional performance it is. He doesn't even look like the same person. Just like
Mhm.
really
Shapeshifter. Yeah.
amazing acting chops on both of them. And I really don't think that the character of Ilya would have worked if the performance hadn't been that good, where you can like feel that energy coming off the screen. And so at the beginning of Ilya's arc, he's very like emotionally closed off, but very sensual, right? So he, in a sense, because we like don't get to get that much emotional depth from him, and because he's so like sensual forward, I feel like this is a place where you could say that like the camera is objectifying him. He is like a sex symbol, right? I heard on one of your former pods somebody said like the sex is what gets the foot in the door, and then like afterwards you're like, oh, this is like a beautiful, complicated love story. So Ilya goes from this like I feel like very armored. That's kind of what I think about with him and his like what I perceive as him with his CPTSD is that like the vulnerability is where you can get hurt, but it is also the opening through which like emotional connection can happen. And without that vulnerability, pain can't come, but also like the joy of love can't come. And so we see Ilya very much like he's always like amazing posture. The he has this like face that's very like the hooded eyes and like the open mouth,
Mhm.
very seductive. And he has that energy throughout like most of the series until specifically that shot after that really intense sex scene where his face is just like at rest. And we've got like the golden sunlight. And then the other thing that I clocked and was obsessed with is that you can see like his acne, like his normal skin texture, which is like I love that shit. Like
Yeah.
because I mean like that's a continuity nightmare. That's why actors like have to wear so much makeup. And so when they do show the actor's real skin texture, it's like they're doing it for a purpose. And I feel like it's a representation of like this is no longer like the sensual, objectified object of Ilya. This is like a real and complicated person, and we can like see
New
who is
York, sorry. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that was all. You can see, like, his real skin texture, face at rest, and I feel like it's
Yeah.
such a perfect conclusion to his arc, and seeing him after he has professed his love for Shane, after he has left that vulnerability in there. And he also in that shot, I think he looks a little bit afraid, which I think is perfect because, like, opening up is an incredibly scary experience. So
I
that
love
is my
that.
moment from episode 6.
No, it's so good, and yeah, I've heard people talk about that too, of how he almost looks not sad, but, like, he is, like, really in his head after that. It could be fear, it could be yeah, like and then, of course, when Shane brings up his mom, there is that line that, people quote all the time of, like, "She would have loved you like I loved you." But, like, I think, yeah, leading into that scene and then that moment with the son, like you said, and then leading into that line, it's like, oh, it's so painful, and it also sets up season 2 and, like, the long game so well. It's so good. It's so good. Oh, thank you for sharing that with us. That's all. No, I love it. And I don't think I've noticed the texture of the skin. So I need to look back at
I've
Mhm.
that.
not noticed that either. We need another
Yeah.
rewatch, I think.
Uh-oh. She's like, back to the cottage. And so going back to kind of the series at large, you hear all the time in book writing or screenplay writing, showing, not telling. Like that is always such a piece of advice for writers. Where do you really see that excel in the show? And that could be a scene, an episode, the whole thing.
Well, I think it is absolutely like concentrated throughout that the again like the writing is so well done because so little is told to us and so much of it is shown, and I think that shows like a lot of trust in the performers. But honestly, maybe boring answer, I think that the first scene is absolute dynamite in terms of showing, not telling. Again, it's like that was like the catalyst for me wanting to start doing narrative analyses because I was like, it's a 90-minute scene in which like 3 lines, sorry, not 90-minute, 90-second,
Wish.
90-second scene in which
It
like
feels like 90 minutes.
yeah.
In a good
In which
way.
we've got like 3 lines of dialogue, but just through like the manner of their micro expressions, the like tone of their dialogue, we are able to get like such a complete story of like who these characters are. And it's kind of like even like a, I don't want to say spoiler, but it's like foreshadowing for the entirety of their relationship. And I think that reading into that scene like that takes kind of like it's kind of like something that you do on a rewatch, right? Because you need to know like more about the characters at the end of their arcs to understand more about like where they are rooted at the very beginning. Oh, but God, that initial scene is so, so, so good.
So good. And I actually think I saw this comment under your video. Um, so you've probably seen this too, but someone was saying, like as a micro moment that I think might just be coincidence, but maybe the team is just that on it. I wouldn't be surprised either way. That Ilya's cigarette doesn't light until he
Mhm,
sees Shane or until like Shane introduces himself. And like that's the
mhm.
spark. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I've seen that as well.
don't know if that was on purpose, but I'm gonna pretend like either way it's real because I just love that so much. So it's also when we're filming this, it's Ilya's 35th birthday. Happy birthday, Ilya.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cancer,
So
perhaps?
is
Is it
he
Cancer season?
I think he's a
Gemini. I think it's
Gemini.
Leo.
season.
Gemini.
Gemini season.
Oh,
Checks
classic.
out. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Checks out. So you again, like you've mentioned his character, you've done some amazing deep dives on his character. What do you think is the biggest misconception people have about his character, especially kind of like towards the beginning and how he interacts with Shane?
Okay, this is a really good one, and I think it could have layers to it. Um, I think the thing that I think is really important to keep in mind is that, like, our characters are complex and they should be complex. And I know that there is a huge fandom movement. There's like such a love for these characters. But I think that can come with people not wanting to talk or like focus so much in about like their negative qualities, which there are because they are complicated people. And especially at the very beginning of an arc, you got to start somewhere. And so at the beginning, Ilya does have this like sheathing armor. He's like, I am not vulnerable. I am not here to have an emotional connection. He is like quite rude and like, I'm like, editing the scene analysis right now for when they have their like moment on the rooftop at the very end of episode 1. Amazing scene. But the fact that Ilya like grabs Shane and kisses him in public is like he's being reckless with himself. That is what he's want to do, but he's also being reckless with Shane, like without his consent. Like it's a really, really asshole thing to do. And I think that again, like I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that we should not want, like, moral purity from our characters because I
Yeah.
think that that makes for, like, a much less interesting story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. Oh, I'm so excited to see your analysis of that
Yeah.
one. It's so good. Yeah, and especially, like, I think that's kind of the first time that Shane kind of hears or understands, like, the Russia of it all. Or not
Yeah.
understands, but hears about the Russia of it all.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
different cultural attitudes towards, like, what is polite or what is friendly or acceptable, yeah. And
right,
that's
like,
another I asked people on this as well. It's like, I feel like I'm missing such a huge chunk of his character by not knowing anything about Russia. And I really wonder, like, their process of writing. Like, I wonder if, like, Rachel Reed, what her, like, knowledge or, like,
yeah.
comfortability or understanding of Russia is, or if they had, like, consultants on the set. If so, I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, that is a really good question because I know they had a dialect coach, but I'm not sure if they had someone specifically. But yeah, I mean, I love Shane so much when he's like, "Okay, must be nice. You're going home."
And you're like, "Shane, please."
The response, Ilya's look for that is just so, like, "Oh my god, get into it."
Like, you do not get it.
Yeah.
And so poor Ilya, he also has trauma and you mentioned CPTSD, complex PTSD. How do you think that shapes his romantic and platonic relationships throughout the
Mhm.
series?
Absolutely. I think that for me, what I see mostly with Ilya is this sort of like, because the main obviously CPTSD is like incredibly complex. There's like many different manifestations of it in individual people. But for him, I see like this like predilection towards like emotional retreat and withdrawal and avoidance, combined with this sort of like reckless risk taking behavior. I was really struck by it in, oh god, I don't remember what episode it is, but it's the one time where we see Sasha,
Mhm.
um, and there's like sh no affection towards Sasha from Ilya's end, and Sasha says something like, "Oh, you used to be fun, you used to like to be reckless," and we can see that, like, so much of this, especially the fact that Ilya chose his coach's son as the
Yeah.
person to be, like, his first queer experience in Russia, he treats himself recklessly. It's like maladaptive coping mechanisms, right? Um, and so I think that's why and I know that we're gonna get into the question of, like, who fell first, who fell hardest.
Mhm.
I think that for Ilya, the falling itself was way delayed, but I think that it was such, like, a crazy, like, reconstructive process in the brain of, like, allowing oneself to feel love and be loved, no matter how scary that is. I think
Yeah.
that that is what made for, like, such an amazing and, like, fulfilling arc on his end.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Oh, sweet baby angel. So obviously there's a lot to Shane too, and maybe that's next time you grace us with your presence. But is there another character who maybe doesn't get talked about a lot who you think has a very like compelling arc in season one?
Yeah, it's so funny. This is, like, exactly what I'm talking about in the video that I'm editing, but because Heated Rivalry is so concise, again, it's, like, only 5 episodes with our POV characters, and it lasts over the course of, like, 10 years, there's not a lot of, like, narrative space for other for, like, a fleshed out huge cast of characters, but the person I am really drawn to is Yuna. I think that her arc is so interesting and so incredible, and especially after, like, in that scene at the cottage after she and Shane go outside and she's, like, feeling very upset about the fact that he didn't feel safe, like, confiding in her, the fact that they hug, and then she also practices that, thing of she's like, "Okay, we're shutting it down." She's like, "I cried, got it out, we're shutting it down." And I was like, "Okay, we can see that ramifications of that process in your son."
Mhm. Mhm.
And so also, yeah, just having those, like I love seeing characters' parents because, like, at least in my process when I'm writing a character, even if you don't like allude to it like concretely, or even if you don't like tell your readers about their backstory, you have to like know about their backstory in your own mind to make sense out of like the way that they act. And then to see like a character interacting with their parent and
Yeah.
knowing the influences that parent had on them is just like layers of craft in like such a satisfying way.
Right. And it's something you don't think about really at that age. And then the more I've grown up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I see so much of my mom or my dad
Yeah.
in this behavior. And you're like, this is growing up.
Yeah.
Um, no, I love that. Yeah. Yuna's also just such a badass.
So cool. She's so cool.
She's so
Major
cool.
bag alert. Yeah.
Seriously. Another thing you've talked about, especially, in the first gym scene, and something that's kind of a consistent throughout the entire show, are kind of the power dynamics between Shane and Ilya. So I guess what makes that so interesting to analyze? And it could be looking at the gym scene or a different scene.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the first thing that I find as like the foundation that is necessary to which I think makes it so interesting is that they are so equal in so many other regards. I'm so happy that they changed it from the book where there was like a huge size difference between the two of
Yeah.
them, that our actors are like of a height. They're like exactly the same amount of famous. They are both wealthy. They are both just as skilled as each other. So there's um no, like, baked in power differential right from the very beginning other than the fact that, like, Shane is Asian Canadian, Ilya is Russian. Obviously, there's, like, things in there. The fact that they're both men, they are both the same, like, around the same height, and that they are both, like, at the top of their game. And so that means to me that, like, the power differential that they, like, choose for themselves and they slip into is, like, purely because they desire it. Um and then the fact that it makes so much sense for what we know about their backstories as well, right? It's not just like one of them like slipped into this role just because it like seems like they should. That for Shane, we see over and over again how he loves rules, he loves direction, right? He wants to like take a load off because he has this like tendency for hypervigilance. We see that Ilya like loves to exert control and he like feels happiest when doing that. And I feel like that is the mark of a really good romance for me is when like the characters don't just come together because it is written that way, right? But it like makes so much sense that they like fit together. They're
Yeah.
the puzzle pieces. They're like the personality types that are going to like need each other and rely on one another. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. No, I love it. Uh,
Totally. You already alluded to this, but there is a lot of debate online on the internet about who fell first, who fell harder between Ilya and Shane. So our question is, what's your take? And do you have an opinion or a scene that backs that take up?
Yes. Okay, so in the first day of any writing course or like lit course that I ever take, or sorry, that I ever teach, I play this amazing video by Kurt Vonnegut. Do you guys know Kurt Vonnegut?
Mhm,
Legendary author, Slaughterhouse-Five.
mhm.
So
Slaughterhouse, yeah.
he did this like very brief lecture where he like graphed out the shape of stories, and it's like beginning, it's like time is the x-axis and then good fortune to ill fortune is the y-axis. And a lot of stories have like, the general hero's journey. We have like a very we have a lot of shapes that are very familiar to us, and like someone starts down at the bottom and then it's like rags to riches, they end up at the top, or they go through hardships and then they end up on top, right? And so I like to think about their processes of like subsuming themselves in this emotional vulnerability. They each have their hangups. Shane is like about his queerness, Ilya is about like his vulnerability. But I think that because Ilya is the one who's so armored, and also because he has like a sex life that is like big and storied outside of Shane, where for Shane, Ilya is like his only sexual experience with somebody that he's actually attracted to. I think that Shane is like much more pulled in emotionally right from the beginning and a lot more vulnerable. And then I think going into that like curve, it's the tuna melt scene where Shane realizes the feelings that he has and freaks out. And then for Ilya, I think that it is like his feelings of jealousy about Rose, which like catalyze and activate his understanding of what he's feeling. I think after that experience, I think Shane is like written as so emotionally mature, which I really love to see. And he's like, he obviously like is in love with Ilya before Ilya like says it out loud. Yeah, but for Ilya, the catalyst was later. And so I do think that Shane fell first, but if we're talking about who fell harder, who had the biggest struggle through that like emotional armor wall, absolutely Ilya. And I love that he's the one who says it first. I think that that is so important. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Totally.
also love in the book too, like there are so many, especially when they get to the cottage, there are so many moments that Rachel writes in where I just like kind of assumed that they were about to say I love you. And then I reread it the other day and I'm like, there's actually I just filled in that he pauses, like Shane pauses a lot or Ilya pauses, and I'm like, he was about to say it. And then I was reading it back and I was like, there was actually I just like fully put that in there. Like that was my own. Like
Your brain inserted
my
that.
brain just said they're about to say I love you at every possible moment. But yeah, I
Yeah.
also think it's so great that Ilya says it. And I like love the holy shit. I think that's so funny and so
Yeah.
Shane.
I really do see that though, like that I've had that vibe before where like when it's like about to burst from your mouth, but you know that you're like, I should keep this to myself for a little bit longer. But there's that moment in the cottage where they're like napping together and then he wakes up and Ilya says, I like you. And I'm like,
Right.
I know you were about to say it.
Yep. Like half
We
asleep,
know you're
half
about to
drooling.
say
Yeah.
it. That makes me think of recently we were talking about this is kind of a tangent, but we were talking about how, and this maybe isn't being ready to say I love you, but how the sunset scene when they're in Tampa feels like a big shift in their relationship because Shane at that point is having his, he had a conversation where he said I'm gay, and that's like a big step for Shane, and Shane kind of carries that pretty far, and for him that feels like a big release, I think, but he has still so much growing up to do. Whereas Ilya at that point is like, okay, where you're at right now, I was at years ago. we've got some work. Like that's great. We're moving on, and kind of the shift as that moves into episode 6, and then carrying into the story, I think is so interesting.
Yeah, it's when
Um,
Shane is like, I'm gay, and Ilya's like, oh, you think?
he's like,
What
right,
makes you think that?
right,
I am in your hotel room right
And
now.
it's
Yeah.
like, it's so awesome because like Shane is being so completely sincere. He's like, wait, you thought
he
I was
is.
gay?
He's like, but how did you know that?
He said, I didn't even know. That's crazy.
Oh,
uh,
um, looking forward to future analytical reviews on your end. Is there a particular scene that you're really excited to unpack that you haven't recorded yet?
I am dying to do the bathroom scene. Ugh,
That's gonna be so good.
talk about
Oh, I can't
Shane.
wait.
I was
Shane
like, which bathroom
Bathroom.
scene?
talk about Shane being like so in the crippling horrors of like his own being in love with Ilya and feeling like Ilya is emotionally out of reach because he is like so tragic. Ilya giving him like the other thing that happens in the final scene of episode 1 is where Shane is like making these bids for emotional connection. He's like, "Oh, I thought we were," and then he does that hilarious fucking thing where he like walks away and sticks out his hand. Who does that? I'm obsessed. Um, but Shane is making these like bids for emotional connection, and like sometimes the way that it's performed, I don't think it's necessarily supposed to be intentional. But Shane's got no poker face. And so Shane is making bids for emotional connection and Ilya responds with physical affection. Where like in the on the rooftop they kiss, yeah, in the Vegas scene they have sex, but still and it's like Ilya is providing Shane with like what he is able to provide or what he thinks Shane wants, but there's like another undercurrent to it. It's the we didn't even kiss of it all, right? It's like so heartbreaking, which I love. I love.
I'm so excited to hear. Like that scene
Cannot
is.
wait.
I remember that's something I had to rewatch a couple of times because, I mean, I went into it not of I didn't read the book, and I remember that was a scene where I was like, this is so interesting because the dialogue isn't necessarily matching with the actions in a way that I would think would be happening, which I also think is so interesting. And I think Rachel too was like that actually sealed for her that Shane fell first. Um, and then she also said, yeah, like in the book that it wasn't meant to read as emotional as it was performed, but I think it is so interesting. And the WoW genetic, like it's such a it's,
That's
it's
what
so
I'm talking
good.
about. That's
Yeah.
subtext. It's like in
Yeah.
a show that was like written with less finesse and less like very interesting subtext,
Yeah.
Shane would have been like, "Oh, I have feelings for you, and I was wondering where you went." And Ilya would be like, I have some emotional hangups, but we can have sex." But the fact
Right.
that like it's the performance that gives
Yeah.
you all of that, like it lets you know what they're thinking. It's and it's not purely done through dialogue, which is like the struggle or and also like the opportunity of like adapting something from a novel to a screen is that you have the element of performance, which
Yeah.
can like it can so easily make things a lot more complicated, which I yeah, love.
Yeah. That's like a perfect example of an adaptation where it really elevates the baseline of the writing, which I think is what Rachel emphasized on. She was like, this was in this book, it's such a minor scene, and their performances just really, really elevated it. That scene is so juicy. I cannot wait
Oh
to
my god.
watch your deep dive into that.
Thank you.
Um, we have a question that we love to ask people, and it's really kind of the why of why we started this podcast and why we wanted to talk to people about this show. But why do you think Heated Rivalry has resonated so widely with people?
Mm, huge. Um well, okay, so the reason that am really really interested in like critically studying popular media is I think that like what becomes popular in like the cultural zeitgeist is always like in response to what the people are desiring. It's either in response to like our anxieties or our fears, right? Um and so like number one, queer storytelling is like foundationally different. And it's like different in not like a greater or lesser sense, but just like it's a new perspective and it's a new take on love because like in this show it's not just feelings of desire, it's feelings of desire intermixed with like the need for secrecy, the feelings of shame and confusion and like the family dynamics. And I also think that like I I love that like TV, movies and books are getting like sexier. I think that there's like a lot of lingering like prudishness and pearl clutching that happens, but I think that sex is like such an amazing storytelling mechanic because it sits at this juncture of um like bodily autonomy, physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, shame, vulnerability. And it's like it makes for such juicy television. And like not just because it's sexy, but because these sex scenes do crucially important emotional work and character work. I think it's just like it's another tool in the toolbox. And I'm like really glad that like popular media is beginning to embrace that. Um and the other thing that I've been thinking about a lot is I've done some like PhD work in masculinity studies, and it's like Heated Rivalry is, I think, primarily beloved among women. I mean, there's definitely like a lot of men that love the show, but I think that my YouTube audience is like 89% women. And so the question that I get asked a lot is like, why do women like love MM romance? Like, what is the root of this? And so this is just like one perspective again. It's like not I don't say that this is like right or the only reason, but I think it's we love like us those of us who like love men and are often like very disappointed in men are feeling really like love to see masculinity employed in a way that is like not in reference at all to misogyny. There is no like baked in power dynamic because of their gender. And so we get to like witness loving masculinity. Um, and also there's like, you know, being a woman with a body is like inherently traumatic. So being able to like witness sex scenes where you don't have like a reference in your brain of like what it would be like for me, you are just like witnessing love itself. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Very well said. Very well said. Agree. Um, Getting a bit introspective here, how would you say Heated Rivalry has impacted your life? This could be personal, professional, creatively, etc.
I think with my own writing, it has made me think a lot more about like romance and sex within writing. Because I'm in like my final draft of my novel that I've been working on like forever. And I think that I unfortunately did because I've been in graduate school for so long, and I think that it can be easy for me to get infected by like the academy's like distrust for like genre literature or things that are romantic or things that are sexy. But because I thought that Heated Rivalry was just so well wrought in how it dealt with romance and sex, I was like, okay, let me not gesture away from the sex scenes in my book. Let us get into it. Let us do it.
It's what the people
um,
want.
and I also just I have been so I never imagined that people would be watching my YouTube videos. I The only reason I recorded my first one is because I had been making TikToks, and then my phone is, like, so old and broken that I, like, spent so many hours, like, recording and editing a TikTok on my phone, and then I lost it because my phone glitched, and I was like, "Fuck this, I'm gonna get back into my podcast setup, and I'm just gonna, like, put it on YouTube just as, like, a placeholder."
Right.
Um, and then I woke up and it had, like, 15,000 views, and I was like, "Oh."
Hey.
Who would've thought?
Love that.
Okay. So it's been really yeah, I didn't really think that people would be into this, but it's been so rewarding, like, having people talk to each other, talk to me in the comments, like, I all I ever wanna do is, like, talk about good art and, like, facilitate conversations about good art, so I feel, like, so incredibly lucky to be able to do that on YouTube.
Yeah, I feel like we feel so incredibly lucky. I'll speak for myself, but to live in a time, the internet can be really bad a lot of the time. And I think finding a space to hear other people's perspectives and really take a deep dive into something that we love or we're interested in is the best. It's like the best version of the internet that exists.
I have this is like I have never had because 'cause I've been working on and off the internet for quite a long
Yeah.
time. I have
Mhm.
never been in, like, an online space where there's been less hate. Like, everyone's just having fun, everyone's
Mhm.
positive. I made one video about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, a Game of Thrones show, and the proportion of men who watched it was, like, 70%, where usually it's, like,
Sure.
15%. So much hate. So
Yeah,
much hate, and I was like,
very interesting.
"Wow."
Very
I'm
interesting.
unused to this because, yeah, people in Heated Rivalry are just like, "Yeah, yes, girl."
I would love to hear about your novel.
Oh,
Can you share
yeah.
anything about your novel? Like the genre, like the anything about it?
Yeah, it is, so it is a, near future dystopia,
Oh yeah.
so set in, like if I were to have children, which I would never, if I were to have children, like, they it would be, like, their generation.
Mhm.
Um, and so I am from the Great Dismal Swamp of North Carolina, which is like a crazy cool, spooky, awesome, like magical environment with like so much history. And so I also, sorry, this is going to be a long answer. Is that okay?
No, we're here. We're
That's
Um,
sad.
fine.
I got my undergraduate degree in agricultural sciences. And what I learned during my time, unfortunately, is that industrial agriculture is comprehensively destroying the environment, and that is so reliant on fossil fuels to manufacture like fertilizer and pesticides that as soon as the cost of fuel goes up, like it is doing literally right now, as soon as that cost goes up, farmers will no longer be able to produce. We will not be able to grow anything out of our soil because it has been so damaged. 98% of the soil in the US is functionally sterile. It's like concrete. Sorry. I get really
No,
excited about
No,
soil
go on.
science.
please. I'm like,
Um, but so that means that like once fossil fuel prices like explode, we are going to have like rampant famine. And then so I was at, Cornell, and all of my, like, buddies and my whatever went off to work for Monsanto, Syngenta, and I was like, "You know what?
mm,
I don't think I wanna do that." And I
You know
realized
what?
that, like, because, like, Audre Lorde, the master's tools cannot dismantle the master's house, I was like, "I don't think there's a way to work, like, within capitalism to fix this system that has been broken by capitalism." And the thing that I was like, "Well, what change can we affect?" Is that the word? Is, like, cultural change. And so I was
yeah.
like, "I'm gonna write a book." And so my book is about this, like, group of women in the Great Dismal Swamp who, like, are able to forge this like magical utopia within the dystopia. And then there's
Incredible.
like a sapphic love story, and there's like, yeah. Anyway, it's a dystopia
Sold.
sapphic love story, lots of witches and witchy stuff.
Like,
I
Amazing.
can't wait for
so up
this.
my
We're
alley.
sold. Yeah.
Wow.
That is.
Thank you for
Can we
asking.
post? I mean, can we share that in the podcast? Are you okay if we share that?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's jump into this or that. Again, low stakes, speed round, but also if you want to give an explanation, you totally can. Ginger ale or a Bloomin' Over Brooklyn smoothie?
Ginger ale. I feel like banana smoothies taste like cough syrup, personally.
That's true.
That's a take. Ilya's too well, sorry, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. I hate bananas and smoothies, so I agree.
That's gonna be the soundbite. Is you saying you hate
Sorry.
bananas?
That's a take. Sorry, don't know why I said it like that.
Divisiveness.
Ilya's tuna melt or Shane's burgers?
Tuna melt.
Shane's loon call or Ilya's Jim Woo?
Loon call? Oh, loon call.
But he does the loon. She's like,
She's like,
Wait.
I missed that episode.
Wait, Shane's woo? When does Shane do the woo?
Ilya's Jim Woo.
In the
He does
in
it
the
in first episode.
Oh, where he's like, okay. I like the loon call. I like that he's connected to nature.
exactly.
Hang out with Hayden or hang out with Yuna?
Yuna. Oh my god. Yuna over everybody.
Correct.
Yeah.
Ilya's okay or Shane's really?
I like the really.
It's so cute.
So cute. Stairwell kiss or your boyfriend's here kiss?
Stairwell. That was one of the best.
It's
Truly
so
one of the
Amazing
best.
We're
performance.
all team stairwell here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all team stairwell. Both are obviously so sweet, but stairwell kiss. Penthouse 1 or room 1410?
Penthouse 1. He hired an interior designer. You know it's nice in there. Also, I will say, I feel like Ilya was giving him shit about hiring an interior designer, but I was rewatching the tuna melt scene and I was like, Ilya, you did not design this house. It
Right.
had
Right.
geometric art, like bedazzled art prints all over the wall. I'm like, I don't think that you went to Home Goods. And
Just a nice try.
It's a funny visual though. Ilya's
I
Home
would
Goods.
love to see Ilya go to Home Goods.
I
Yeah.
love to see it.
I'm sure someone's written that. There's a one shot that exists out there on 803. The Kingfisher or straw plus berry?
What is straw plus berry?
The
The
smoothie
smoothie
shop
An episode.
Oh, and the Kingfisher
is
what?
It's the gay bar.
I feel like I'm
the
not
gay
very good
bar
at
in
this.
episode 3. That
Oh,
Kip
that
Wisconsin, yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very cute.
Party with Svetlana or get dinner with Elena?
Svetlana, because I am in love with her.
I mean, so real.
Same.
It's
Same.
I like mention it. I again was just in my latest video. I'm like arguably the most beautiful woman in the world, just casually in
Crazy.
this show.
Not
Yeah.
even sure it's an argument, to
Yeah.
be honest. All the things she said or I'll believe in anything.
She said. Speaking of a moment that I cannot wait to analyze, and bisexual representation, when Ilya sees whatever his name is.
Miles.
I've only watched the show like twice.
No, that's real.
Miles, when he sees Miles, and then someone said that he was like activated, like the bisexual Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the beat
No,
drops and he
that
turns
turn-
around. It's
Oh.
incredible.
I'm
His slow
obsessed.
turn lives in my mind, like rent
Yeah.
free. Like
It
that's
is.
all I think about.
Peak cinema.
Face turned to stone. Yeah, exactly.
So good. The Canada fleece or the banana socks?
Canada fleece. Lovely fleece.
Lovely place.
The sunset scene or the sunrise scene?
Oh, sunrise. That is like one of my favorite in the entire series. It is so beautiful. The like bokeh and the light. Oh my god.
Beautiful.
Just
We always
Also,
say we're
this-
biased, but yeah.
yeah, because it's our
Oh, yeah.
logo
Our
and stuff.
logo.
You all see how they did the sunset scene with like an LED wall and just like a floor that they dumped sand on.
Crazy to think about.
Movie
so
magic.
amazing.
Movie magic. Okay, last one. Ilya's Hawaiian shirt or his leopard print shirt?
fucking I want to buy that leopard print shirt.
It's so good.
It's so
It's
good.
so fucking funny. It's so good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was like, I think I need to. I was like, I need to have some sort of hockey prop for my podcast stew, and I was like, it's got to be the leopard print shirt.
Leopard shirt. You
Please.
have to get it. Please do. And don't explain it either. Just like
Yeah.
have it and don't ever explain it. Okay, that's it for this or that. Do we want to?
Yeah. Okay. And then just like we've started doing like a little minier fun segment of just like superlatives for characters. And just because you've mentioned, I just have a couple, and they're actually both kind of like dystopian, which I wrote down before even knowing about your novel. But two just like most likely tos for characters, most likely to survive on a deserted island, in your opinion.
Yuna, she's taking inventory of everything on that island. She's building a shelter. She's getting water filtration going on. Yeah, she'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, she's got it. She's got it. Okay, and then this also may be Yuna, but most likely to survive the Hunger Games.
Look, okay, no, I think it's gonna be Ilya because I
Yeah.
think he's gonna be like so Finnick core. He's gonna be showered with gifts. He's gonna just walk right out of there.
No, I love that. So here's my here's my worry about Ilya is I feel like they'd put him in a situation where if it's like him and Shane at the end, like, and they'd be like, you have to kill Shane, he would like sacrifice himself.
Yeah. And Shane would probably.
No, it's Romeo and Juliet.
I fully believe that Ilya put into that situation. I believe he has the capacity to kill. Not Shane, but any of those other people.
Oh yeah, no, everyone else, but like it's like
Someone else
Shane at the end.
absolutely, but Shane absolutely not.
Yeah, definitely. They would
It
pull
would be a
Kaz
Barry
and Yuna.
situation. Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Well, truly, thank you so much. We were so excited about this episode.
I appreciate that so much. I am excited to see the future of your podcast as well.
Thank you. All right, bye.
Okay, nice to meet all of you. Thank you.